I 31F think my long-term relationship with my fiancé 31M is over. I don't even know where to start. I just feel hollow, like something inside me finally gave out, and there's no coming back from it. We've been together for 9 years. We met in high school, the kind of couple people thought would never break up. Everyone used to say, you two are perfect together. And for a while, I really believed that. We've built a life together, a messy one, but it's ours. We have 2 beautiful boys. Our oldest is 2, and our youngest is almost 9 months. I love being a mom, even though it's exhausting and isolating at times. What hurts is that I never expected to feel so alone while in a relationship. Things started to change after our first son was born. It was like becoming a parent flipped a switch in me. I became hyper-aware of everything. Every bottle, every diaper, every load of laundry, every appointment, every meltdown. I was running on fumes, and he just didn't step up. I know not every guy has that instant dad mode instinct, but it was like I was parenting 3 people, my baby, my partner, and myself. I'd talk to him about it, hoping something would click. Sometimes he'd improve for a week or 2, then go right back to checking out. And then I got pregnant again. I was hopeful. I told myself, maybe this time, he'll understand what it means to share the load. But here we are, 2 kids later, and I've had to have the same talk with him twice already. I feel like a broken record. Don't get me wrong, he's not a bad father. He loves our boys, I know he does. He plays with them, he hugs them, and he tries in his own way. But he only ever does things if I ask. If I don't, they just don't get done. It's like he's waiting for instructions, like I'm the manager of our home and he's the intern. A couple nights ago, we had another fight, the same one we've had 100 times. Except this time, it went somewhere darker. He said some things that I can't unhear. I won't repeat all of them, but I'll never forget the tone. He told me I always make myself the victim. That I act like I'm the do-it-all parent. He said I make him not want to be in the house, that I push him away, that I'm the reason for the distance between us. I stood there stunned, because yes, I get frustrated, and yes, I call him out, but I never attack him. I never try to hurt him. After a long silence, he apologized. But it wasn't the kind of apology that fixes anything. He said, I'm sorry for how I said it, not for what I said. He claimed he had to be that brutal because he'd reached his breaking point and couldn't stand feeling the way he did anymore. That hurt more than anything. I asked him why he was still with me, if I made him feel so miserable, and he said, because I love you. But what kind of love is that? He said I've changed since we moved into my dad's place. We've been here temporarily because of financial issues. He told me that I act like I've grown so much and that my medication hasn't actually changed anything. When I asked for examples, he said I'd just deflect anyway. It felt like he'd built this entire image of me in his head, one I didn't even recognize. And then, after saying all that, he had the nerve to stand in front of me, hold out his hand, and say, I love you. I just stared at him. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. My body froze. Later, when he asked why I didn't say it back, I told him the truth, that I wasn't in a place to return the sentiment. That I didn't even know if we could come back from what he said. I told him to stay at his dad's place for the weekend. He came by today to see the boys, and it broke me watching him play with them. He was smiling, laughing, like nothing had happened. Meanwhile, I was barely keeping it together. I've never felt this kind of pain before. Not anger, just sadness. The kind that sits heavy in your chest and makes you question everything. Because no matter what fights we've had, I've never said something meant to hurt him. But he did, and the fact that he expects me to just move past it and still say, I love you, afterward. It's too much. I don't think I'm overreacting. I think I've just hit the end. The end of fighting, the end of begging to be seen, the end of trying to fix something that only one of us seems to care about anymore. So yeah, I think it's really over this time. And even though that thought terrifies me, I think I'm okay with it. Update. Hi everyone. I wasn't planning on posting an update this soon, but some things happened today, and I just need to get it off my chest. After I told him to stay at his dad's place for the weekend, we barely spoke, just the occasional text about the kids. It's been quiet, too quiet, that kind of silence that feels heavy, like both of us know it's the calm before something big. He came by today to talk. He said it like that. Calm, serious, like he'd rehearsed it. I thought maybe he'd had time to reflect and wanted to make things right. Instead, what I got was complicated. He sat me down and said he'd been thinking about us. He said he didn't want to lose our family, but he also didn't want to keep living like we have been. That sounds fair, right? But then it turned into a laundry list of my flaws. He said I've become cold, that I shut him out emotionally, that I make him feel like nothing he does is good enough. He said he's been walking on eggshells around me for months. I told him that maybe if I seem cold, it's because I'm exhausted, physically and emotionally, from carrying the weight of 2 kids, a household, and a relationship where I constantly have to be the project manager. He kept saying, you don't see what you do, and I kept saying, you don't see what you don't do. We were both crying at one point. Not yelling, just crying in frustration. It's like we were speaking different languages but saying the same sentence in our own heads. At one point I asked him, do you even want this anymore? He said, I want my family. But I don't know if I want this version of us. That hurt more than anything he said last time. Because deep down, I think I've been feeling that way too. He stayed for dinner so he could see the boys. Watching him feed our baby, hearing our toddler call him, Dada, and giggle, it made me ache. For what we used to be. For what we could have been if we'd just known how to meet in the middle. After the kids were asleep, he asked if I'd consider couples therapy. I told him yes, but not for us. For me, because I need to figure out what I want, who I am outside of being a mom. He nodded quietly. I think he understood what I meant. Before he left, he hugged me. It wasn't a romantic hug. It was the kind of hug people give when they know something is ending but aren't ready to say it out loud yet. When he walked out, I stood there holding our baby monitor and just sobbed. Not because I wanted him to come back right now, but because I finally accepted that we might not fix this. That sometimes love really isn't enough. He texted me later saying, "I still love you. I just don't know what we're doing anymore." And I didn't reply, not out of anger, but because for the first time, I honestly don't know either. I don't know where we go from here. All I know is that something broke in me the night he said those things, and even though I'm trying to hold it together for our kids, I can feel the space between us widening with every conversation we have. Maybe this is what falling out of love feels like. Slow, quiet, and painful in ways you don't even notice until it's already happened. Update 2. We started couples therapy, and maybe, just maybe, there's a way to make this work. It's been about 3 weeks since my last post, and honestly, I didn't expect to be writing this. I thought that by now I'd be drafting something about moving on, co-parenting, or learning how to rebuild myself alone. But things took a turn I didn't see coming. After that last fight, I told him I'd go to therapy, not for us, but for me. I meant that when I said it. I was tired of being angry, tired of crying, tired of replaying the same arguments like a broken record. I just wanted to understand what part of all this I was responsible for, and what I needed to work on. He surprised me though. A few days later, he texted, "If you're still open to therapy, can we go together? Even if it's just once." I almost said no. Part of me felt like we were too far gone, like anything he said would just make me resent him more. But another part, the quieter, tired part, whispered, "What if this is your last chance to really hear each other?" So we went. The first session was awkward. We sat on opposite ends of the couch like strangers waiting for bad news. I cried before we even started talking. The therapist asked us to go over why we were there, and I said, "Because I don't want to hate the father of my kids." He didn't say anything for a long time, then just said, "Because I don't want to lose her." I felt something shift when he said that. Not forgiveness, not love, but maybe a small bit of understanding. Over the next few sessions, things got uncomfortable. The therapist didn't let either of us hide behind excuses. She called both of us out. She asked him why he avoids responsibility at home until I blow up, and asked me why I only communicate through frustration instead of vulnerability. It was hard to hear, especially when he admitted he sometimes doesn't help because he's scared I'll criticize how he does things, and when I admitted that sometimes I do, because I feel like I'm the only one holding it all together. It's a vicious cycle. We both feel unseen, but for different reasons. For the first time in months, it felt like we were actually talking. Not fighting, not defending but talking. We've been trying to apply some of what we learned. Small things at first. He wakes up earlier with the baby without me asking. I try not to correct him when he does things differently. We've started having coffee together in the mornings again, something we haven't done since before our youngest was born. It's not perfect. We still have bad days. There are moments when I still feel distant, and moments when I see the look on his face that says he's walking on eggshells. But there's also laughter again. Small, hesitant moments that remind me of why we fell in love in the first place. Last night, after we put the kids to bed, we sat on the couch in silence. Usually that silence feels suffocating. But this time, it was peaceful. It's weird. I don't know what the future looks like for us. I'm not naive enough to think therapy is a magic fix. But for the first time in a long time, it feels like we're on the same team again. Update 3. It's been about 3 months since we started couples therapy. If you told me half a year ago that I'd be sitting here writing an update with actual hope in my heart, I would have laughed. But here we are. Things aren't perfect. Not even close. But they're better. After the last post, we committed to really giving therapy an honest shot. No pretending. No playing nice for the therapist. No brushing things off. We made an agreement that if we were going to do this, we had to go all in, even if it meant saying things that hurt. And it did hurt. Therapy stripped us bare. We both had to look at some ugly truths about ourselves. He admitted that when he'd say things like, "You make me not want to be in this house," what he really meant was that he felt like he was constantly failing. Like nothing he did was right, and he didn't know how to fix it, so he'd check out emotionally. He said it was easier to pull away than to try and fall short again. Hearing that broke me a little, because I realized I'd been doing the same thing in a different way. I'd stopped believing he could change, so I treated him like he couldn't change. It's a weird kind of pain, realizing you both hurt each other because you were scared of being hurt first. Since then, we've been working on the small things. He makes breakfast for the kids now. It sounds simple, but it means everything to me to wake up to the smell of pancakes instead of crying babies. He folds laundry sometimes without being asked. I don't nitpick when he forgets to separate colors. We started doing check-ins once a week, 15 minutes where we talk about how we're feeling, no interruptions, no phone, no judgment. It's awkward sometimes, but it's slowly teaching us to communicate before resentment builds up. Last week, he told me he missed how we used to laugh together. So we made an effort to bring some fun back, watched old movies, ordered takeout, tried to dance in the kitchen after putting the kids to bed. It wasn't romantic in a movie way, more like rediscovering something simple we'd lost. I've also noticed he's been more present with the boys. He takes our toddler to the park alone now. I used to assume I had to be there for everything, now I actually get a break sometimes. Watching him with them, seeing how patient and loving he can be, reminds me why I fell in love with him in the first place. And me, I'm learning too. I'm learning to let go of control, to ask for help without resentment, to accept that partnership means trusting the other person to show up, not micromanaging them into it. We still argue, of course. Therapy hasn't magically erased the past. There are moments where old patterns creep back, where I feel that familiar frustration bubbling up, or where he withdraws. But the difference now is that we notice it. We talk about it. The other night, after another long session, I told him I still wasn't sure if I was in love with him the way I used to be. I expected him to get defensive. Instead, he just said, "That's okay. I still love you enough for both of us while you find your way back." And for the first time in a very long time, I felt safe again. I don't know what our future looks like, but for now, we're both showing up every day. And maybe that's what love becomes after years together, showing up, even when it's hard, and choosing to try again instead of walking away. So yeah, things aren't perfect. But we're healing, and for now, that's enough.